беруть. А, да, пожалуйста, да. Спасибо. Да. Ну да.
Хоче. Вова, дивись, як не туди. Выживание.
Идеально, идеально. Бон Пари, да. Всегда же надо. Она отвечает, что я такому еще. Да нет, Вот, ну, в сущности, денежным. Наверное, нет. Да. Хотя, что я вот за скиллы хватаюсь? За что схватиться? За свое такое, да. На худой конец какие-нибудь умения, знания, да. Как социальный слой? Горячий вкусный продукт. Правильно. То есть в любой момент, когда тебе надо, вот из-за чего-то, ну, короче, когда тебе надо что-то сделать, надо скиллы накапливать. Надо выживать. Выживание это скиллы. Ну, я даже не знаю, да, то есть, да, ну, то есть, вот ты дорос до чего-то, типа, я кандидат научных всех этих. Тебе надо выживать, надо дальше работать, да. Долгую-долгую седую старость. И не импотентную даже причем. И не тупую, да. Когда все вместе переводишь. Это совпадает с тем, что чтить женщин, в том числе биологически, я имею в виду, с размножением. Да, и то есть не относиться к женщинам как к мужикам. Адекватно, да, потому что если ты мужик, то тогда и не стыдно, и не позорно. Да, то есть ты как бы типа всем угодил, что ли? Ну как бы нет, это просто как бы вот так вот. Да, понимаю. Но по сути, если так угодно, можно и так сказать. Ну, я не думал, что для того, чтобы всем угодить, потому что если ты скажешь, это плохо по тем параметрам, я говорю, нет, неплохо. А рэперы такие, нет, это стрёмно, надо шамру, а потом рэперы может. Я тебе пример просто говорю, да, потому что женщины это, ну, так вот, да, понимаешь. Но в то же время вот так вот, да, понимаю, да, что, ну да, это жестоко. Короче, не знаю, ну понимаешь, все нормально, жить можно, работать надо так. Только жизнь и работать это одно и то же практически, да. Но оно же совпадает совсем. Потому что ты не хочешь просто так жить, как вот, как я сейчас, например. Как червяк. Да, знаешь, ты хочешь. Это типа, ну, понимаешь, надо отдавать обществу, насколько можешь лучше что-то хорошее делать. Вот так вот там. Это мне мало известно. Ну, это и что, всех ограбишь, да, красивый фильм снимешь. Что когда будет? Правильно, незаконно окажешься, то не знаешь. Ни денег, не ну понимаешь, никто не знал. Долгий разговор. Ничего страшного, тоже опыт. Значит, похуй, попробуй, значит, надо лучше делать. Ничего страшного. Ну и... Ну не надо делать ничего. Ладно, тут не делаешь. Выходит, надо. Линейки. Правильно? Вот ты мужик, это вот счетово. Все, что ты выковал из себя, если угодно, все, что ты сделал самим собой как инструментом, это все счетово. Все остальное просто позорно. Потому что лучше бы этого не было. Ну, понимаешь. Что-то да, как бы, понимаешь. Можно, понимаю. Ну да. Они тебе не обязаны, они тебя научат этому. А у тебя голова-то есть своя? Вот так, да. За жизнь-то тебе страшно за свою, да. Да, вот это. Денег сидеть хочешь, да? Ну, почему, да. Это тоже современно. Если сейчас ты без денег, что будешь делать? Можешь не фниковский делать, можно по-русски. Можно по-нормальному.
Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Piano TV. So what I wanted to do today is take a look at the ABRSM exams and how that works, what it is, why you would even bother taking these exams, and so on. So last month I did an equivalent video with the Royal Conservatory of Music, the RCM, which is available for examinations in Canada and the United States. So I wanted to look at the ABRSM today, which is similar in a lot of ways, because it's available in more countries around the world. So I think more of you will be able to get benefit from this exam system. The ABRSM, which stands for the Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music, offers a musical curriculum and exams around the world in over 90 countries. So 93 countries. It's based out of the UK, and it's existed since 1889, so it's been kind of like a gold standard for over 100 years. And I think it's probably the most major musical organization in the world. They do have over 600,000 students taking exams every single year. So when you hear someone say they have their grade 6 in piano, there's a good chance they're talking about the ABRSM grades. Or, I mean, alternately, the RCM grades, but the ABRSM is more common just because it's more worldwide. And just a little cool thing about them too is that they're also a charity, and they're ranked in the UK's top 200 charities by annual expenditure. So there's a fun fact there. So where do you take the exams? Well, it would be really pointless of me to rattle off all 93 countries you can take the exam, so I'll leave a link over on the blog if you want more details. If you're just on the ABRSM site, it'll show you your, like, the most local exam center. So for me, it's like, I don't know, 1,500 kilometers away. It's not that local, but there are more centers around the world. I do find it kind of difficult to find the location of exam centers outside of the UK, so be prepared to do some Google searching to see what's near you. Like, I wish they had a complete international list somewhere, but what they do have is, if you look in the top corner of their website, it'll default to your country, but you can also see some of the other countries and go from there. And if you do happen to find something where it gives like a complete listing of all the different exam centers in all the different countries, please hook me up with that link, because I could not find anything like that. I really wanted to. If the ABRSM isn't up your alley, or you don't have like a local exam center sort of like me, here are some other options for you. So there's the Trinity College of London, and they are also a very huge organization with exam centers all around the world. The Royal Conservatory, which we've talked about on this channel, it's based in Canada and the US, and then the Australian Music Examinations Board. So I want to talk about some of these more in detail in future videos, just to fully explore all of your musical exam options. So stay tuned for that. Before we really get into this, let's take a quick look at what the ABRSM levels and grades are. So we have, it's a lot like the RCM, we have grade 1 through 8, and then there are a few levels beyond that that are like much more intense. You have the diploma ABRSM, you have the LRSM, and then the FRSM as kind of like the bachelor master's degree equivalents. Basically, most students make it up to a grade 8 level, which is equivalent to about a grade 10 RCM level. And then there are a few levels beyond that. Like the RCM, we have grade 1 through 8, and then there are a few levels beyond that that are like much more intense. You have the diploma ABRSM, you have the LRSM, and then the FRSM as kind of like the bachelor master's degree equivalents. Basically, most students make it up to a grade 8 bachelor master's degree equivalents. Basically, most students make it up to a grade 8 level, which is equivalent to about a grade 10 RCM level. And then, as mentioned, the levels beyond that are diplomas, and they're much, much more challenging and meant for the serious musical student or professional. So how does going through a musical examination system, such as the ABRSM, differ and compare to a typical university? They kind of run parallel to each other. So when you go to high school and university, that's like track A, and then getting your ABRSM is like track B, and they overlap and they complement each other. You wouldn't want to necessarily have one without the other. I mean, if you have your ABRSM credentials, it's not going to like allow you to get a job in a school or things like that, but it can enhance your university education. If you're applying to a program at a university, you're going to be required to audition at a specific grade level. So usually that's going to be about an ABRSM grade 8 level that you need to be able to audition at. So again, you don't need your ABRSM credentials to audition at that level, but it really helps as kind of like a way to get comfortable with that playing level. And if you're applying to a specific musical college, the exam requirements, the entrance requirements are going to be higher beyond a grade 8 level. It also, if you're applying for university in the UK, having your ABRSM credentials from a requirement playing level really help. You don't need your ABRSM credentials to audition at that level, but it really helps as kind of like a way to get comfortable with that playing level. And if you're applying to a specific musical college, the exam requirements, the entrance requirements are going to be higher beyond a grade 8 level. It also, if you're applying for university in the UK, having your ABRSM credentials from a grade 6 to 8 level is going to give you UCAS credits, which help you get into universities, regardless of whether or not you're doing a music degree. So that's kind of an interesting thing too. So what I have up here is a table of the ABRSM equivalencies and their corresponding NFQ levels and the other related credentials. So as a Canadian, I was pretty unfamiliar with the NFQ, which is basically a scale that goes from, here, I'll show you actually, I got it here. A scale that goes from like beginner, like level 1, all the way to higher doctorate degree, level 10. So it's just kind of like a European ranking system. And also for my UK friends out there, please let me know in the comments if there's anything I've misrepresented, just to make sure. Like, I did a lot of research for this, but I mean, you know, things happen. So anyway, from a playing perspective, having your LRSM via the ABRSM is about equivalent to a bachelor's degree. I mean, it's not the same thing. You wouldn't be able to like teach in an elementary school with that certificate, but like the skills you develop are very similar. And then the highest level, FRSM, would be equivalent to a master's degree. So say you're interested in being a music teacher. Having ABRSM credentials can enhance your university credentials. They're not substitutes for each other, but they complement each other. It's interesting how the ABRSM and RCM compare to each other, because with the Royal Conservatory of Music, if you get your grade 8 in piano, it's going to give you high school credits. And with the ABRSM in the UK, you get UCAS credits, which help you get into universities. So both examination systems are recognized as actual education that actually contributes to your future if you're a teenager and that's what you're doing. So I wanted to talk about the trajectory of the average student. So the average student who starts when they're a kid, like 7 years old or so, can expect to progress to a grade 8 ABRSM level by the end of high school. This is the student who's like, they enjoy music and they practice, but it's not their whole life. They're doing other things. They have other activities. The more motivated student would be able to go a little bit beyond that. But that would be the kind of student who, wants to do music post-secondary education or professionally. So yeah, average student, grade 8 by the end of grade 12. And this doesn't just apply to kids. So if you're an adult beginner, you can expect to take a similar trajectory, but slightly accelerated. Because in general, you're going to progress about 1 grade a year. If you're advanced or you're moving quickly, as happens with older learners, you could skip grades. You don't have to do like every single grade in sequence. If you're finding that the preparatory and grade 1 stuff is really easy, you can skip to grade 2. You could, if you already have some background in music and now you're just getting into like the classical education system, you could like jump in at a grade 5 if that's where your playing is at. So you don't have to do it all. One question I get asked a lot is how do you know what grade level you're at? This is a question that I kind of talked about in the RCM version of this video, but I did want to address it here as well because not all of you are going to watch both. So I just want to make sure like everyone kind of gets an answer to this question. And there aren't really any hard and fast rules that I know of, but I try to assess it based on these factors. So what kind of pieces can you play comfortably?
С другой стороны, можешь, да, значит, вредно отвечать. Ну, не важно, или полезно. Нет, вы в своей жизни живете, нет? Если у тебя образования нет музыкального, давай рассудим просто вот так вот по-простому. Значит, ну вот и все, понимаю. Да. Да. Типа того, да. Не знаю, вот, ну, наверное, да. Вот в том-то и вопрос, потому что мне самому было интересно. Я даже не думал, что какая-то профессия, да, я когда учился, ну, я потом уже, собственно, она поняла тебя просто, что, да. Нет, потому что, да, я понимаю о себе так уже, да. А как ты это будешь делать? А кому надо это? А что это? В чем добро-то того, что ты делаешь? В чем это хорошего? А почему люди деньги не платят за это? Почему платят только государство? То есть или только через налоги каких-то там, да. А что, почему, в чем проблема? Если все так хорошо, замечательно, ну просто, или даже не замечательно, какая нафиг разница? То есть, ну, от этого не надо, да, да. Ну да. Мне, это все будет, да. Людям нужны изделия. Они будут платить деньги только за то, что им, да, им джигают, да. Вот это мне надо, то, что мне надо. Можно, ну, типа того. Нормально. Ну, это имеет в виду, да, просто. Инком. Нет.
That would be something you could learn in 2 weeks to a month with relative ease. Like you're not practicing it 3 hours a day kind of thing. And what pieces are difficult but doable. So these ones might take several months to get right, but you can still do it. You can still do a good job. And then what pieces are too intense? If you tried to tackle them, it would just be like an uphill struggle and you wouldn't be able to do it. And then I also consider your sight reading skills. You might be able to play at a level much higher than you can read. And I see this a lot. If that's the case, I would probably knock you down a grade or two so that you can get better at reading, which will then help you to advance more easily. So I generally consider what you can do here to be your natural fit for a grade. So if you find that you can play grade 7 stuff pretty not easily, like it challenges you a little bit, but you can do a grade 7 level piece in a month without too much struggle, then I would probably say you're around a grade 6, grade 7 level. If you can do like a grade 9 piece and it's challenging but doable, I would still say you're probably around a grade 7 level. And that just gives you a little bit of perspective. I'll go to the ABRSM website and check out their syllabus, which is free online. And they have every single grade requirement listed on the syllabus. You can look at the different pieces. They have like a list of all the pieces at each level and what their difficulty is. And then from there, you can try some out and get a sense of where you're the most comfortable. So maybe you're finding you're playing some of these grade 5 pieces and they're just right. They take you about a month to figure out. Then I would say you're probably a grade 5 level. And that's how I would kind of do a little bit of trial and error to figure it out. So how long do the grades actually take to go through? Well, the general rule of thumb is that each grade represents about a year of steady practice, kind of like school, right? So the standard trajectory for kids or young teenagers, depending on their abilities, would be about a year in preparatory level ABRSM, which is like musical kindergarten, and then year grade 1, year grade 2, and so on and so forth. Just again, like school. With adults, I tend to accelerate things a little bit. So an adult who practices consistently, but not like heavily, could expect a path that looks something like this. So several months at ABRSM prep. I like to speed up grade 1 and 2 because I just find that they join together really well and you don't need to dwell on them as long as the adult is pretty competent. And then from there, do roughly a year per grade. And it's not like a rule for everyone. Some people are going to move faster and other people are going to move slower. I try to keep it pretty regimented for kids though, because I feel like kids do better when they're pushed to adhere to the school timeline. But I like to be a little bit more flexible with adults. So this timeline isn't going to make sense for everyone, but it's what I keep in the back of my mind when I'm teaching piano. So let's talk about theory for a little bit. In the ABRSM, there's a musical theory exam that you can take that corresponds with every grade. So as far as my understanding goes, you don't necessarily need to take every single theory exam, just like you don't need to take every single graded exam when you play piano. However, you do need your grade 5 theory in the ABRSM. Otherwise, you won't be able to even apply for the grade 6, 7, or 8 playing exams. Like you can't even take them. So there is the minimum like
организует. То есть это, да, да, да. Организуется спорта.
This is your mandatory theory exam to get to the higher levels. This exam is pretty tough. Like it shows some of the equivalencies that if you're not familiar with the ABRSM, you might be familiar with some of the others. Yeah, it's pretty challenging. Like it shows that you have a good understanding of the most important theory concepts in music, which are then going to help you learn the higher level pieces of grade 6, 7, and 8. So when are the exams held? Well, the exact specific days that they're held change from year to year, but they're always like in the same season. So there's a spring session, which is in March. There is a summer session, which is June, July, depending on what exams you're doing, and then an autumn session, which is in November to December. And the same sessions are available if you're doing theory exams as well. Here's a list of the fees for exams as of 2017. And note that the numbers are going to differ in various countries, but they should all be like roughly equivalent. So for example, in USD, you can expect exams to range from about $50 at a grade 1 level to $110 at a grade 8 level, which is very reasonable. So in Canadian dollars, it'd be like $65 to $150. But again, exchange rates are super variable, but this just gives you an idea. In this video's North American twin, the one on the RCM, we talked about how these two schools compare to each other. So first of all, the grades are organized a little bit differently. For example, grade 10 RCM is pretty similar to grade 8 ABRSM. And then the next level, one of the diploma levels, ARCT, is very similar to the diploma ABRSM, which is the next level in the ABRSM. So from a grade by grade standpoint, they're pretty similar. Like grade 9 and 10 RCM, probably a little bit tougher than ABRSM grade 8 because you have to learn more pieces and you have to learn more technique. So I think that holding a grade 10 certificate in the RCM is a little more meaningful than a grade 8 certificate in the ABRSM. But again, it all kind of balances out. This has an extra diploma level, so they work out the same way. I just want to make one final note about these exams. So in addition to preparing a selection of 3 pieces and your technique, which is scales and stuff, you also have to be able to demonstrate ear and listening skills and then sight reading skills during the exam. So for example, a grade 8 ABRSM student will be required to quickly study a page of music and then play it slowly. That's sight reading. They also need to be able to listen to cadences, chords, intervals, that kind of thing, and identify them by ear. So the requirements are different for each grade, so you can check out the syllabus to see what you would need to study for your chosen grade. But it's just worth noting, not everyone knows that there's going to be the sight reading and the ear training components of these exams. It's very crucial. And that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And before you go, I just wanted to let you know that we're planning another free webinar in a couple weeks. I guess it'll be a week or two from when this video goes up on April 22nd. 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, CST. We wanted to try to include as many countries as possible. Some of you are going to get edged out of this, and that's just the way it goes. But yeah, we're going to try it morning, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about inspiration. So our theme, I'm going to plan a little bit of a discussion with you guys about staying inspired, being inspired. And then we'll have a little bit of a discussion, a little bit of a Q&A. And if you have your own ideas on how you stay inspired, you can share that with us. And it can just be like a big hour-long inspiration party. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to visit us on Patreon, thank you so much for everyone who helps make these videos possible. And I will catch you in the next video. Vidya. So how does going through a music education... Oh, I'm not recording.
Yeah. Подписывайся. К этому чему? Ну да, да. Да, да, да. Да. Да, да, да. Да, 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 да. Да нет, да, да, нет, не дорогой, понимаете. Ну, вот это и Да, именно такой ориентир, понимаешь? Типа холодные люди, абстрактные, холодные глупые. Знать не желают, блин, да. Ну, если ты артист или актер, то другая ситуация. Меня это даже не касается. И что они желают знать, что ты желаешь. Тоже культурное наследие, бла-бла-бла. Никому от этого не легче. То есть ты товарный вид, значит, это просто навык. Ну будь никчемом тогда, ориентируйся на женское, да. То есть нету никакого здесь выхода, нечего тут юлить вообще, нечего говорить даже. Просто да. Я тебе говорю, вот такая вот щелочка, вот такая вот, да. Как это объяснишь-то? Почему тебе кажется, что ты все понимаешь, если 0,00% только что-то нормального, как бы, да. Так что, да, она понимает. Ну вот она поняла себя. Я не заангажирован, да, смотри, я как специалист слабак, если бы я взял, открыл сейчас как Рахманинов, так, там, не знаю, как кто угодно, себя бы играл сейчас супер просто вообще, как пианист после консерватории, или, да, или после стажа работающих какого-нибудь. Да, ну я тебе просто говорю, да, времени бы не было даже, наверное, приходится явить.
you.